And in each case, the wave, to answer your question, came right over the top of the bridge.
Oh, wow.
And that was at least 45 feet from the water. And when that would happen, the whole bow would come out of the ocean. You could see, if you could see, that is, you could see the sound stack, because the sound stack was right directly below the bridge on the keel.
Okay.
And you could see that thing under there. So that's a third of the ship. And it would just hang there momentarily. And then as the water went by, it'd go like this. So now you got the bow and the stern hanging out. And then it would, with the action of the waves, it would head in again.
Oh my gosh, into the next wave.
Yep. Now, when it would settle down, you had steering and you had power. The screws and the rudder were in the water.
Okay.
But when you went this way, everything on the fantail was out. That was like the skunk that went over the fence last, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, what happened to me was that when the war was over, and we were not allowed to come back to the United States when the war was over. We were in the South Pacific, and we had to stay there until the islands were all secured, because a lot of the Japs wouldn't give up, you know.
Right.
So anyway, the captain wanted all of the POs, and I was a PO, petty officer. He wanted us to have the helm to be in the crew that would handle the helm, because we had to go right through this typhoon as we're headed back to the United States. So I had the helm, and it was a 12 to 4 watch, and it was night. And the sky was inky black, and right in the middle of this damn typhoon, the stern settled, and I went to make a correction for it, and I had no rudder.
Oh.
So what I did was I hit the alarm button, and the OD came running over there, and he flipped the wheel, and he verified that I was right. There was no rudder. So one of them went back to secondary con. They couldn't get control of the ship at secondary con. And so what they finally did was sit down, make yourself homely.
Oh, I'm on a mission. Oh, wait a second. Are these are...
Yep, they're pre-cut. Here's some forks.
Thank you. Maybe I'll take... And a fork. I think Phil has a fork.
Okay.
So anyway, they went back down to the fantail. That is also the stern of the ship, by the way.
But this was no rudder, not just on the top of one wave, but it was like you were...
We were floundering.
Floundering with no rudder.
Right, we were floundering.
Wow.
So anyway, they went back to the fantail, and they broke the plates out that covered the steering gear.
Who?
In the
Who did that? In the midst of these oceans?
Yeah. Yeah, you see, you've always got two groups that are called damage control. These two groups are available all the time when you're at sea. And if anything goes wrong, you've got the forward damage control and you've got the aft damage control. And this was the aft damage control that went back there. And that's an officer, a rated officer, and a couple of POs, maybe all POs. and they pulled that plate off, and they hooked a block and tackle to the yoke of the rudder. That allowed them to steer with the block and tackle. And then they hooked up their telephone set to the bridge, and the bridge would tell them what kind of a change to make in the rudder.
Truly amazing.
Now there's another way of steering the ship too. There's two shafts that go from the engine room back to the screws, and you can steer the thing by putting more force on one shaft, more turns on the screw on the other, or less. So anyway, we finally got the thing all straightened out. But by the time they got it straightened out, I was off watch anyway because I had completed my watch. I was about 2 hours into the watch when this happened, and so it took them a couple hours to get things straightened out. And while this was going on, the minute I lost control, I looked up, and here I see this huge thing up there, blacker than the ace of spades, and that's the Big E, the Enterprise, the carrier. We're headed right for it.
Oh. How'd you change course?
Well, they changed course first of all with the turns on the screws.
Right?
That allowed them to swing it around. But you know, you don't want to get caught in a trough, because if you get caught in a trough parallel with the waves, they'll rock your ship. They'll flip it.
Right, they'll flip it. So, Jerry, are you the survivor of the destroyer that did not ram the Enterprise?
Yeah, right.
I never heard that before.
I got a million stories.